Naming standards and unique identifiers make account records traceable and consistent. A standard format, such as first initial plus last name, helps correlate accounts across systems, while unique identifiers prevent duplication. Consistency aids both automation and audit readiness. For instance, using the same username pattern across email, network, and application platforms simplifies revocation when an employee departs. Random naming or manual creation leads to confusion, especially in large environments. Naming discipline also helps detect unauthorized accounts. Anything that breaks the pattern stands out. A simple standard like this becomes a quiet but powerful control for integrity and visibility. Provisioning approvals ensure that access is justified and limited to the least privilege necessary. No account should be created or elevated without documented authorization from an appropriate manager or system owner. Least privilege means granting only the permissions required for a defined job function, nothing more. For example, a help desk technician might need password reset capabilities, but not the ability to create new admin users. Workflow systems can enforce these checks automatically, logging every approval for evidence. When approval paths are clear, accountability follows naturally, reducing the risk of excessive access or silent privilege creep. Periodic recertification and attestation form the feedback loop that keeps privileges aligned with reality. Managers or system owners review account lists at regular intervals, quarterly or semi-annual, to confirm that access remains appropriate. Any discrepancies trigger remediation actions. For instance, a manager might discover that a departed contractor's account remains active in a forgotten application. Certification reports provide auditors with proof that oversight is continuous, not episodic. Attestation also sharpens awareness among leaders, reminding them that access is a living responsibility. Regular reviews turn governance from a static policy into a recurring act of stewardship. Dormant and orphaned accounts present silent risk if not handled proactively. Dormant accounts belong to users who have not logged in for a defined period. Orphaned accounts belong to no active owner at all. Both can be exploited by attackers or misused by insiders. Automated reports should flag such accounts for review or disablement. For example, an account inactive for 90 days might be suspended pending manager confirmation. Deleting or archiving these accounts reduces attack surface and simplifies compliance reporting. An accurate account list is a health indicator. When dormant identities vanish quickly, governance is working. Shared accounts, where multiple users share credentials, should be prohibited whenever possible and tightly controlled when unavoidable. Shared access eliminates accountability, as activities cannot be tied to specific individuals. In rare cases where shared credentials are required, such as legacy systems, compensating controls like logging, frequent password changes, and activity monitoring must apply. For example, a maintenance account on an old system might be checked out through a password vault that records who used it and when. Transparency converts shared access from an unmanaged risk into a monitored exception. The guiding rule remains: one person, one identity, one audit trail. Service accounts deserve their own inventory and governance model. These accounts allow applications or systems to interact without human intervention, often carrying high privileges. Each must have a documented purpose, owner, and renewal process. Passwords or keys should rotate regularly and be stored securely in managed vaults. For example, a service account used for nightly data synchronization might have credentials that expire every 90 days. Reviewing service accounts alongside human accounts ensures they do not escape oversight. Because they rarely log in interactively, service identities can hide in plain sight. Strong inventory practices keep them visible and accountable. Break glass accounts. Emergency credentials used to restore access when systems fail require exceptional control and review. These accounts bypass normal restrictions and therefore represent concentrated power. They should remain disabled until an emergency occurs, with activation logged, monitored, and promptly revoked afterward. A post-incident review must confirm that use was justified and that credentials were changed immediately after. For example, activating a break glass account during a directory outage should trigger alerts to security and audit teams. Treated casually, these accounts become vulnerabilities. Treated formally, they preserve continuity without compromising trust. Logging successful and failed account attempts provides early visibility into misuse or attack. Successful logins confirm normal operation. Failed ones can indicate brute force attempts or forgotten credentials. Logs should capture time, source, and account ID, forwarding alerts for suspicious patterns. For instance, repeated failed logins from unusual locations might signal credential theft. Analyzing trends helps refine authentication policies and lockout thresholds. Logging also supplies forensic data during investigations. In short, every account action leaves a footprint, and those footprints tell the story of both compliance and defense. Visibility here is prevention in slow motion. Timely deprovisioning remains the final, crucial test of account discipline. The goal is immediate revocation once employment or engagement ends. Systems should synchronize with human resources to trigger automatic disablement and removal. Reports showing average deprovisioning times help measure control effectiveness. For example, reducing the gap between departure and account closure from 24 hours to 1 hour sharply limits exposure. Evidence of this timeliness, tickets, logs, and confirmation emails, serves as audit proof. Delayed deprovisioning is not merely inefficiency, it is risk quantified in minutes and hours. Precision here defines program maturity. Common pitfalls include incomplete inventories, inconsistent approvals, and failure to review dormant or service accounts. Quick fixes often involve automation and cross-department communication. For instance, integrating identity management with HR systems closes gaps between personnel changes and access updates. Another fix is enforcing multi-factor authentication on all privileged accounts, shrinking the risk window for stolen credentials. Training managers on recertification duties also prevents rubber stamping reviews. These improvements require no major investment, just sustained attention. Pitfalls fade when governance is treated as culture, not compliance alone. In the end, maintaining disciplined account hygiene ensures that access reflects reality, not assumption. AC-2 teaches that every account is a living trust decision. When creation, use, and removal follow clear patterns, the organization gains both security and confidence. Good account management is invisible to most users, yet indispensable to the system's integrity. It protects not only data, but accountability itself. Through steady governance and timely action, organizations turn identity management from a checklist into a demonstration of responsibility, a daily proof that trust is granted carefully and withdrawn precisely when due. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.